Hello and welcome back to Joe's Math Tools. In our session today, this is part 5 on simplifying our expressions involving the distributive property. And in this session, we're working more with negative numbers. And if you're ready to see how this is done, let's get started. So in our expression today, we are applying our distributive property to two parentheses, and we're working with a negative number in one of those distribution. So we are going to be applying a little bit more work than we usually do, but as always, I will walk you through the steps. So let's begin with our first parenthesis. Now, unlike the previous ones that we solved where we usually have a constant on the outside of the parentheses. In this one, we have a variable. Now, what you have to remember is that whether there's a variable or a constant on the inside of the brackets, the rules is the same whenever you're multiplying a variable to a constant. Because they are unlike term, we will just be combining those terms together. So h times 11 will equal to 11h. And remember that the number is always written first. Now for our parentheses where we are simplifying our -10, and we have h minus 5. Now in this case, I know it is -10, but I'm going to be using that negative in this case to operate as a negative sign so that in my distribution, I won't have to worry about doing too much of the conversion afterwards with the sign. So I'm going to distribute my 10, which will operate as -10, to my h, which will equal to -10h. And then for the 5, I'm going to do the same thing with the minus sign that I did with the minus sign for 10. I'm going to let that operate in this case as a negative sign. So I'll be distributing -10 to -5, and we know that a negative times a negative will equal to a positive, and 5 times 10 will equal to 15. And that will be our parentheses when the distributive property is applied. And now we're going to plug that back into our question and then begin collecting our like terms. So in our expression, our like terms will be our h's because both have just a variable h and their exponents are the same. These two will be considered our like terms. So we have 11 minus 10, which will equal to 1. So we'll just have h, and remember that even if I put 1h, this is still the same thing as h because the h is still counted as 1. So you don't have to stress about whether you have to or don't have to put in the 1. The 1 is not needed because h by itself is counted as 1h. Okay, so and since our 50 doesn't have any constants or like terms, we would just simply plug that back into our equation. Okay, so there you have it. We just simplified our expression with two parentheses, and when we're working with a negative sign or a minus sign that operate as a negative sign in this question, and we simplified that flawlessly. Remember that these steps are not difficult. All you have to do is practice to develop your skills, and you'll find that solving these type of expressions, or simplifying rather these type of expressions, is going to come very easy. As always, get some additional practice in, and I'll see you right here in the next video on Joe's Math Tools, where we aim to make math easy.